Hey,
Hey,
how are you doing today?
how are you guys doing?
Listen, this is day 15 of the
Day
21
15.
days of encouragement, the
Wow.
Let's Talk About
You got it.
series. And man, it is crazy to me to think that after today, we only have 6 more days left. There's one here and the rest up here. We only have 6 more days
Why?
left. I don't know. Because I can.
Oh,
So
okay.
we only have 6 more days left here in the Let's Talk About series. And listen, it is my prayer that something was said in this series that has blessed you, that has encouraged you, that has gotten you to a place of even wanting to know God deeper
Yeah.
in your relationships
That's good.
and in your relationship with Him. You know, it is my prayer that your hunger for God in your marriage, in your relationships has increased, and that you get to a place where you want to see God more evident in your relationships. As a matter of fact, I think that as we do this last week, that's what I also really want to spend a lot of time talking about this last week. That just kind of hit me, is that we're going to talk more in this last week about God being present and evident in your relationship and what that looks like and what that can do for you. We've done a lot of talking about, relationships and sex and God being involved in all of those. But what I want to do more and do to make sure we close this thing out right. This last week, you be on the lookout because we're going to be talking about inviting God into every aspect of your marriage and your relationship and all of that, because it's necessary that we have that so that we can have these godly unions that we've been talking about. And so let me just encourage you, invite God into every aspect of your marriage. If you're married, invite Him even into your sexual encounters with one another. If you're not married, don't invite Him into your sexual encounters, but He's going to be there.
Invite Him into holding on.
Yeah, invite Him into your holding on process. Seriously, because that's so very important. As we talk about that, there's something that the Lord laid on my wife and I's heart, and we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. And it falls right in line with what we were just talking about. We're going to talk about love versus lust. As we closed out at yesterday's, series, or not yesterday's, but day 13's video talking about marriage and is it a business or not. One of the things that we talked about was love and what love is. And when you look at 1 Corinthians 13, it tells us, verse number 4, love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked. It thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Friends, when we look at that passage of Scripture, it gives us the perfect depiction of what love is. But then, just in case you missed it and don't quite understand what love is, the Scripture goes on to tell us this. It says in John chapter number 15, it says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that they lay down one's life for his friends." Friends, listen, when it comes to love, love is not selfish. Love is not one of those things where it's my way or no way at all. We were talking the other day, and my wife. I was telling my wife one of the movies that I like to watch is called Couples Retreat, and I don't know if it was Vince Vaughn or one of his friends, but in the movie they were saying love and relationships, marriage rather, is not a highway and a bike path. but it's equal thing, where we're both in this thing together. We're loving together. I'm not more dominant per se than she is, although it talks about being submissive. But when you read that passage of scripture, and this is where a lot of us have gotten it wrong, it says that the woman is submissive to the man and the man is submissive to the woman. So we're submissive to each other. And in that we find the joy and the beauty of love, because when I'm submissive to her, that means I care about her needs, her well-being, and making sure that she's protected and that she has everything that she needs. And then when she's submissive to me, she's like, babe, do you need anything? You need me to do anything? Is there anything I can do to help you, to push you, to encourage you? And that's what submissiveness looks like, is that both of us are in agreement with each other. We're both trying in harmony to bring out the best in each other. We're both trying to make the other one shine and look good, and no one is greater than the other one. It's not my way all the time. And so when we talk about love, that's love, and especially in a marriage. But then not only in a marriage, but that's what love, when we look at the love of the Father, that's what the love of the Father looks like. It says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son while we were yet sinners. He loved us. He thought about us. He cared enough about us that even when he knew we didn't love him yet at that point, and that some people wouldn't ever come to love him, he still loved us. He still gave his all. He still gave the best that he had. But here's the problem that a lot of us have. A lot of us are not in love. We're just infatuated or in lust. We like a certain thing about a person. We like how they make us feel. We like what they do for us. We like just certain things about them. And that's not love. See, here's the thing about it. Love is not just a feeling.
That's right.
Love is not a feeling. Because if love was a feeling, our feelings change.
They do.
And listen, here's the thing. My feelings can change so quickly, but love is, how you say it, baby? Love is a what? Love is a knowing. And that's something my baby has really been helping me with. Love is a knowing. And when you just know, and like I just, when you have that knowing, you know what? I will give my all for them. I remember I was in another relationship with a young lady when I met my wife. Right? But I knew that I loved this girl. I knew that I had to be with her. And then it got to a point where I felt so bad because I'm in this relationship, but I know I love you, and I didn't want to hurt her anymore, that I told my wife, I said, look, I can't do this to you. Now, my wife knew from the very beginning about the other girl. But I told her, I was like, look, no, I can't keep doing this to you. I'm talking to you day in and day out. I don't want to do that to you because I love you, and love wouldn't do that to you. And so I stopped talking to her for a day. And then by the end of the day, I was like, look, don't do that no more. Don't let me do that no more. I love you. I have to have you in my life. And I cut things off with the other young lady. Listen, let me tell you what love will do. Love will do this. You know you got so much in the bank. You've got to pay a couple of bills, but you see someone and you know you love them. So what do you end up doing? I end up buying her groceries and putting gas in her car. Because I loved her, and I wanted her to be full. I wanted her to be fed, and I wanted her to be able to come and go wherever she needed to go because I loved her. Friends, when you love someone, you're willing to give them the very all of you, the very best of you. Just when there is love there. I mean, it's a difference between lust. Babe, go ahead, because I can go on with this subject.
See, I love the part where it says, love embraces truth, and it doesn't embrace iniquity, which is sin. And so there's a twisting that's going on with the word love, we're hearing that love is love, and it's not that. God is love, and that's the truth. So we have people that want you to admit that you love them by accepting whatever they come with, or whoever they are. And if you don't, then you don't love me. But that's not what love is. If I love you, I'll correct you. If I love you, I'll tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
If you're in love, then there's no sin.
Yeah.
And you don't embrace sin.
Yeah.
In love, there's no jealousy, and in love, that's our greatest force, and it doesn't fail. You can love somebody out of a situation, and you can love yourself. I mean, God has loved us out of hell, so love is a powerful force. But I love how God is just straightforward and straight to the point about what love is, and what lust is. Okay, so lust in 1 John, the 2nd chapter. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but of the world. And many times we confuse love with lust.
Absolutely.
From our eyes, from what we see, from what we desire with our flesh, and the things that we acquire. So we feel like if somebody can get me this car, if somebody can buy me gifts, they love me. If they look good to my eyes, and they have all the muscles in the right place, and the 6-pack, and the hips, and the butt, then that I love them. And we use that word so loosely.
Go ahead, girl.
We use that
I'm
word
gonna put a pin right there.
So loosely, and it has lost its value in our lives and in our society, because we just throw it around with, oh, I love your hair. Oh, you never met this person. Oh, I love your hair. And it's really not that,
Like, do you really love their hair? Like, to the degree, like, to really understand the word love, right? As it is, like, to have a strong passion and knowing that, their hair, and here's the other thing, it's not so much the hair, but it's the style that you're liking. But is it really a love to the point of where, man, you know what? Your hair, I would do anything to protect your hair. You know what I'm saying?
I would die for your hair.
Like, your hair, ooh. That's like, when you go back and look at the line of what love is in 1 Corinthians, like, does all that line up when you talk about, ooh, girl, I just love, I love your figure. Like,
what is that?
If her figure change, are you still gonna love her?
Right.
Or, see, these are the things when we start looking at love versus lust. And I want to read this right here for you. This is, 1 Thessalonians, chapter number 4, verse number 3. It says this. It says, for this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality. Verse 4, that each of you should know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor, not in passion of lust, like the Gentiles who do not know God. Friends, listen, we have to take control of our passions. We have to take control of our little emotions and our eyes and our little desires, because our desires are not good. They will not get us anywhere. But if you can get to a place where you say, know what, I have control over this. I'm not going to just follow after a girl because she got pretty eyes and a big old behind behind and this, or ladies, I'm not gonna follow after this guy who got these nice rips or whatever the case may be.
The size I want him
or
to be.
whatever the case may be. But we have to get to a place where it's more than that, like where we start to get to know the character and the heart of a person. If you want to have a long lasting, I'm talking to single people right here, if you want to have a long lasting relationship, I dare you first to understand the depth and the real meaning of the word love, and then start to seek somebody who kind of lines up with what you want and see that you can love, not that you like, not that is good temporarily, or that just draws your attention. You know, and I'm gonna tell you like this: butterflies don't equal love either. I'm just, you know, like that's not just love. That's not what it is. There's more to it than that. I've seen some girls who gave me this little feeling or whatever, but I didn't love them. I had some girls, I said it the other day, who raised my loins but didn't, you know, touch my intellect or my spirit. But it wasn't love. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
You can be in lust with someone and think that it's love.
Yeah.
Especially when you get physically engaged with them right off the bat, and you enjoy what you see with your eyes and what you felt, and you can easily equate that with love. And love is not that. You come to know love more and more as you grow closer to the Father.
Right.
When you begin to spend more time with Him, and that quiet time, and I mean, you don't have to be closed off in a closet to do this, but wherever you can in your mind, spend that time with Him and just let Him speak to you, minister to you. But prayer time is amazing, and in that prayer time, He will begin to show you how He kept you.
Yeah.
You know, in certain relationships, how He kept you on the highway from danger seen and unseen. And in those places, you will begin to see, that's my T, don't trip by the you will begin to see, like, man, how much He cares about you.
Yeah.
And you have done nothing to deserve it. When you realize that you don't deserve His love, and then how it just covers you and what He did for you on Calvary, it makes you begin to recognize what true love is. Love is sacrificial. Love is not proud. It's not rude. Love doesn't want its own way. It's not selfish.
Yeah.
Love gives.
Yeah.
Love is a giving entity.
Yeah. Ooh, now let's deal with this. You know, there are some people who are in the middle of a relationship or a place or whatever, and you are staying in this relationship because you love them. You love them, and they cheating on you, they beating on you, or whatever the case may be.
Brought you STDs and all sorts of things.
Listen, love don't hurt like that. I'm just going to be honest. Love does not hurt like that. It may be something that you like about them. You may feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be with them because I know what they have inside of them, and I'm just going to be the one to bring it out. No, you can love them from afar, pray that thing through them and out of them, and save your behind from a whole bunch of trouble.
Because they're going to end up delivered and you're going to be broken.
Listen, let me encourage you today. Let me encourage you today. While it is yet today, let me encourage you. You don't have to stay in a relationship where somebody is not treating you the way you ought to be treated. He says this about love, that you ought to love your neighbor as yourself. And if you're in a romantic relationship with somebody where you're trying to see if this person is supposed to be your husband, ladies, I'm talking to you. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're trying to see if they are supposed to be your husband, first, see if they love you as Christ loved the church and died for it. See if they're first willing to love you out of a place where it don't matter what happens to them long as you good.
Yeah.
If that's oof. I'm just trying to get somebody to delivered from this the hell that they in. I want you to understand that God does not desire for you to get beat up on, for you to be taken advantage of. I see a young woman who's in a relationship and you've been raped by your own boyfriend because he wanted, you didn't want to give it, whatever the case may be. I want to encourage you. You don't have to stay there. There are programs and places that will help you, that will get you out of that situation. That is not the plan, will, or desire of God for you and your life. But what you have to understand is what real love is. And we've gotten into this mode or this place of thinking where it must be love, because I've tried to, that saying has messed us up so many times. If you love it, let it go and it comes back, then it's yours. That has messed up so many people. If you loved it, then you let it go and it came back. That ain't always love. That ain't love.
That's a soul tie.
Come on. Somebody, look, I could go on so much, and there's so much in this that is just welling up inside of me, and I don't want to just overload y'all with this. But I want you to understand that just because you loved it, let it go, and it came back, that don't mean it's love. Sometimes that they just came to finish the job that they started and beating the hell out of you and taking everything that you got. So you need to understand that love is deeper than that. Love ain't gonna treat you wrong. Love is not gonna hurt you. Love is not gonna, it's not gonna do you like that. And here's the other thing about it. Well, somebody said, well, love is not selfish. So then, I love them, but they don't love me back. And I'm just here with them. Listen, love is not always reciprocated at first. Yeah. But you ought to at least see some symptoms, some signs, something of love. Don't just stay in a relationship, a loveless relationship, just simply because, I feel like he's supposed to be my husband. No, not at all. Yeah. Baby, go ahead, because I can go.
You were doing great. You were doing great.
Okay, good.
Love is patient.
Yeah.
Love is kind, and you deserve better than what you're receiving.
Yeah.
And love, the thing about love, it doesn't have a limit. We've learned in our relationship that it's just the love just keeps growing and growing and growing. Where I thought I couldn't love him anymore, it grows even more. There is no limit to how much love you can have for a person and how much love you can experience with someone.
Right.
Love, you can be angry and upset, but you still love them.
Yeah.
And don't get it confused with, I found him cheating or her cheating and I'm angry and upset and I'm still going to take them back. That's not the case. That's why you have to get to know the Father and understand what love truly is. Get in the Word and start, make a list. Check it twice. You know what I'm saying? And look at that person and say, okay, are they patient? No. Are they kind? No. You know what I'm saying? And really check, they don't love me.
Right.
Do they want their own way all the time? Go through 1 Corinthians 13, the 4th verse, and just line that thing out and see if they really love you or not.
Right. And here's the next thing. I'm sorry, but I know I keep cutting you off. I want to talk to married people for a second.
Yeah.
Married people, listen. We have to really, really begin to exercise and work this thing of love, especially within our marriages. One of the things that we have is we get confused and think that because we love each other, every day is going to be sunny and rosy and bright, especially for people who have been married for the first couple of years, the first 5 years or so, maybe even a little bit past 5 years. We just think like that it's supposed to be sunny sunny days and daisies. It's not so. Real love loves through thick and through thin. I dare you, if you're struggling in your marriage with certain issues, I dare you to go to 1 Corinthians and really check that out, and begin in 1 Corinthians 13 to walk that thing out and love your spouse according to those things. Like just love when they start doing stuff. Don't keep a record of the stuff that they did wrong. Don't bring up the past issues that they did. And we always talk about forgive and forget. I know it's hard to forget, but don't bring it up all the time. I dare you to love them beyond that. Then I dare you to even go a little bit further and go and check that thing out and start to love them according to how he said in Ephesians. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. Wives, submit to your own husbands and honor them in every. Like I dare you to try those things in your marriage and watch how the love grows, the love increases, and how things just get so much better when you begin to love your spouse the way that God called for you to love them and asked for you to love them. Listen, God is trying to do a new thing in marriages and in relationships, but it starts here with dialogue like this. It starts with us talking. It starts with us doing the work. And if we can't do the work for ourselves, we at least need to do it for our children, for our future. Because after us, it's going to be somebody else who's going to come through. Your children are watching you. And the way your children love is going to be based on how you love. Your children's relationships are oftentimes based on the relationships of what they've seen. I based what I wanted in my relationship off what I saw from my grandparents and what I saw from my parents. I said, I don't want what my parents have. I want what my grandparents had, 60 plus years of marriage, loving each other, helping each other, had each other's back to the T. But we have to start doing it now, because if we don't start loving now, if we don't start getting it right in our relationships now, the next generation is just going to get worse and worse. I mean, you have whole generations prior to us, and some in this generation who saw grandma single, mama single, they single. Grandma had a baby with a man that wasn't her husband, or maybe was her husband, and then they divorced or something happened. Mama did the same thing. Daughter did the same thing. Granddaughter did the same thing. We have to break these cycles. We have to break these curses in our family. And it starts now. It starts with us. Babe, I know I done took up most of the time, and I'm sorry.
You are good. The word says love Christ. Jesus is coming back for a church without a spot or a wrinkle.
Yeah.
And the church is his bride, and we have to look at our marriage the same way.
Yeah.
Our marriage is just being purified. It's just being tried in the fire. And if you look at your marriage as a sheet or a piece of clothing that has those hard wrinkles. I mean, those wrinkles that even if you press them really, really hard, they just really don't come out. Man, some of us, we just, the bumps and the dips that you're going through, you're just pressing out wrinkles, and you can't press out wrinkles without a little bit of heat.
Come on.
And without a little bit of water.
Come on.
So there's going to be some tears, and there's going to be some hell and some heat that you may have to go through, but you just keep on pressing. And that thing is going to smooth out. Some of us, we got a lot of wrinkles that we got to press out.
Right.
But if you just stick through it, through the dark times, and just, trust God, hold on to God, God's unchanging hand, seek his face, pray this thing out, it will get better. Yeah. It will get better. It may be 4 years and we still arguing. You got a lot of wrinkles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So keep pressing them out. You look, if you really looked back and knew what y'all got through, generational stuff that you don't even know you coming against, and you breaking it.
Right.
You breaking that stuff.
Right.
And you just got to keep pushing. We just got to keep pushing.
Absolutely.
Push through the dark times.
Yeah.
And man, if you need help, say you need help.
Absolutely. Listen, I want to give y'all this last thing, and this is to help y'all fight off lust and these evil things, desires that creep up and draw you away. James chapter 1 says this: let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. Then, when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, brings forth death. Friends, let me encourage you. Know that when you start, even in your marriage, that's why you have to constantly fight off temptation. Temptation to cuss your husband or wife out, temptation to cheat on them, temptation to walk away. All you have to quash that thing, because once you give a little leeway to it, it starts to grow. It starts to fester. Once you have that idea come up, it starts to just build up, and that's for marriages. But for single people, I want to let you have to quash those thoughts, those desires of, I just really want somebody to lay with right now. Oh, I just need somebody to hold me, because it starts with somebody just holding you. Yeah. It starts with somebody just...
it's wintertime. It's cold. It's snuggling season.
Didn't they get around this area up in here? That was my weakness. Listen, I'm going to be honest. Look, I'm going to tell you, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I remember me and my wife we were both single but dating each other at the time. And I remember it was one time she did something. She rubbed the back of my neck. I said, girl.
He pushed me away.
I said, don't do that. No, because I knew my limits. I understood me.
And I loved that about him, that he knew he had limits, and that made me desire him more. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this, because if he has limitations, if he knows what his weakness is, that means in our marriage he's going to be strong, or try to be as strong as he can be possible.
Right. So single people, let me tell you, know your limits, build yourself up.
Don't linger in it. Don't let them rub. Don't stroke the back of my neck too long.
She just got one stroke, and I told her, no. So listen, know your limits. No, because here's the thing. If you're trying to build a godly union, it's hard to build a godly union when you are just constantly unionizing, joining yourself. I'm sorry, right. Joining yourself with everybody. This has been day 15 of the 21 Days of Encouragement Let's Talk About series. Friends, is it love or is it lust? Know yourself.
Know thyself.
We love you. You be blessed.
Be blessed.